People with toxic behaviors give you minimal doses of affection, just enough to keep you around, creating a vicious cycle of hope and disappointment. And you, desperate for love, settle for these crumbs, when in reality, the entire table should be your rightful place. Why are you trying so hard for someone who wouldn't do the same for you? Every unanswered message, every unreciprocated gesture of affection is like a small wound opening in your heart. This question hits home for many. Begging for attention, affection, or validation from someone who consistently hurts us is a sign that something inside us is out of balance. Stoic philosophy, developed over 2,000 years ago, remains surprisingly relevant when it comes to toxic relationships. It shows us that true freedom comes from within, and emotional dependence on others is a form of slavery we accept without realizing it. As Epictetus, one of the great Stoics, said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." In this video, you'll learn how Stoic teachings can help you cut ties with toxic people without guilt, without fear, and with full awareness of who you truly are. Let's discover together how to stop begging for scraps of affection and start building relationships based on mutual respect and dignity. 1. The trap of emotional dependence. We often confuse love with obsessive attachment. We get stuck on the idea that we need one specific person's approval to feel complete. Every like, every reply, every crumb of attention becomes a validation of our very existence. But according to Stoicism, what depends on you should be your guide. And depending on someone else to feel worthy is like building a house on quicksand. Emotional dependence works like an addiction. What many don't realize is that the brain chemistry involved in this cycle of inconsistent rewards is similar to that of a compulsive gambler. The uncertainty of when you'll receive attention creates constant anticipation, and every small sign of affection releases dopamine in just enough doses to keep you trapped in the cycle. The way out: recognize that you're trying to get from the outside something that can only be cultivated from within: dignity and self-love. When you value yourself, you naturally distance yourself from those who don't. Stoicism teaches us that no slavery is more shameful than voluntary servitude. 2. You are not responsible for what the other person is incapable of feeling. Many people beg for love because they believe that if they try harder, the other person will change. If they send more messages, if they're more understanding, if they accept unacceptable behaviors, eventually the toxic person will see them. We'll love them as they deserve. But just because the medicine is bitter doesn't mean it's not necessary. The bitter medicine here is the truth. You are not here to heal someone else's emotional coldness. Emotionally unavailable or toxic people don't need your blind, limitless compassion. They need clear boundaries and real consequences for their behavior. Stoic philosophy teaches us the concept of the dichotomy of control. There are things we can control and things we cannot. You are responsible for your actions, not for someone else's capacity or incapacity to love. Stop justifying disrespect with phrases like, "He had a tough childhood," or "She doesn't know how to love." We all have emotional wounds, but that doesn't give anyone the right to deliberately hurt others. Take control of what is yours, your reactions, your boundaries, your dignity. Epictetus emphasized that we were not made to live as slaves. You were not made to beg for affection. You were born to live with integrity and to be treated with the respect you deserve. 3. Silence is also an answer. How many times have you sent a message and waited for a reply that never came? How many times have you checked your phone every 5 minutes, seen the person online, and made up countless excuses to justify their silence? How often has someone disappeared from your life and reappeared weeks later as if nothing had happened? We learn from Marcus Aurelius that the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our thoughts. And when you live constantly waiting for a response from someone who doesn't care about you, your mind becomes intoxicated with anxiety, insecurity, and a persistent feeling of not being enough. People with toxic behaviors gradually train you to accept less than you deserve. They test your limits with strategic absences, calculated coldness, and painful indifference. And the more you accept, the further they push the boundary of what is acceptable. A student of Stoic philosophy learns to accept silence as a clear and definitive answer. If someone doesn't show consistent interest in your presence, that's already enough of a message about the role you play in their life. Your emotional and mental energy should be given to those who genuinely listen to you, see you fully, and respect you entirely. I learned from Seneca that part of the healing is the desire to be healed, and accepting that someone's silence is a response, even a painful one, is the first step toward emotional healing. 4. The art of cutting ties without guilt. Ending a toxic relationship is not an act of cruelty. It's a profound act of self-knowledge and self-care. Many people fear coming across as too harsh or cold when setting boundaries. But remember, no one is free who does not have power over themselves. Being firm with your limits doesn't mean being cold or calculating. It simply means knowing what you want and refusing to settle for less. It's saying with conviction, "This hurts me, and I will no longer accept it." No drama, no revenge, just clarity and self-respect. Stoic philosophy teaches us the virtue of courage. Not the courage of physical battles, but the moral courage to do what is right, even when it's difficult. You don't need to scream, seek revenge, or create a dramatic ending to a relationship that hurts you. Just cut off contact, without exhausting explanations, without giving a second chance to someone who destroyed the first opportunity to treat you with dignity. Guilt only exists when we doubt the righteousness of our actions. And when you're clear that someone consistently brings harm into your life, there's no room left for guilt. Choose inner peace. Choose mental health. And move forward with the serenity of someone acting in alignment with their deepest values. 5. True love doesn't hurt many people. Romanticize chaotic and destructive relationships. They say love is supposed to hurt, to be complicated, to require constant sacrifice. Films, music, and books often portray emotional suffering as proof of true love. But this is nothing more than insecure attachment, disguised as deep passion. Seneca teaches us that a calm mind is life's greatest treasure, and that includes the relationships we choose to maintain. True love brings safety, respect, and reciprocity. It doesn't crush your self-esteem, doesn't make you doubt yourself constantly, and doesn't put you in the humiliating position of begging for attention. If you have to shrink yourself, silence your dreams, or swallow disrespect to keep someone around, that's not love. It's self-sabotage disguised as devotion. The Stoics believed in harmony between reason and emotion. Loving wisely doesn't mean loving less intensely, but loving in a way that honors your dignity. The moment you stop begging for emotional crumbs, something fundamental shifts. You begin to value yourself, and those who genuinely value themselves attract people who see that worth and respect it. It's a natural law of the emotional universe. You deserve a love that doesn't make you doubt yourself with every conversation. A love where silence is not used as a weapon, where affection is steady and predictable, and where your presence is celebrated, not merely tolerated. As Marcus Aurelius would say, happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts, and that includes your thoughts about what you deserve in love. It's time to break once and for all with the idea that you must beg for emotional scraps from people who aren't capable of loving you fully. The Stoic philosophers show us that true strength lies in living with emotional autonomy, with clarity of purpose, and with unwavering dignity. Toxic people feed on your doubt, your insecurity, your need for external validation. But once you deeply understand who you are and what you deserve, you no longer need that validation. You consciously choose with whom to share your energy, your time, and your heart. And now, I ask you directly, how many more times will you shrink yourself to be accepted by someone who clearly doesn't deserve you? Leave your comment below. What was the turning point when you realized you had to stop begging for love and start living with dignity? Thank you for watching. If you can, like this video and subscribe to the channel.